Good luck.
Welcome to Fort Fritz, your one-stop for current events and all forms of entertainment relating to the paranormal, the supernatural, the Fortean, and all things that go bump in the night. All packaged and presented in the form of know-nothing know-it-alls, entertaining the unknown. I am Fritz, joined as always by co-host Mandaddy.
Hi.
Angela.
Oh, hello.
And Kaz. So big news for the Pentagon, pretty much saying, guess what? UFOs are real. Suck it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they just totally opened up.
Yep, that was on Memorial Day, I think. It asks more questions now than answers because I think last time we checked, over 50% of the United States of America believes in any kind of UFO out there, whether it be something that we don't know about that the military is doing, or if there's anyone else out there with extra sensory technology that can sustain bone-shredding G-forces.
Earthbound or not.
The Herald Tribune came out with an article called "This Isn't How It's Supposed to Be," where they basically brief the Pentagon tic-tac encounter that we've talked about on previous Fort Fritz episodes, and they also go into what we do and don't know, the known unknowns, as it were, about what the Pentagon is trying to tell us. But the original New York Times article, this was published May 26th. It's called "Wow, What Is That? Navy Pilots Report Unexplained Flying Objects." That was the article that really kicked all of this off. And you have the Department of Defense saying that there are UFOs, there are UAPs. We don't know what they are. I don't know if you're like me, but I kind of wanted this world formal press conference, right? With
Right.
translator earpieces and someone saying, Chile still doesn't know what it is. But, but America thinks they might know something.
It's also just a good way for the Pentagon to say, stop paying attention to us and pay attention to stuff in the sky. Don't worry about we got $21 trillion we can't account
Totally
for.
a diversion.
Just please look at the UFOs. Whee!
Absolutely.
So this great quote came from the New York Times piece. Lieutenant Ryan Graves, who was on one of the missions, he reported his sightings to the Pentagon and Congress, and he said, quote, "Keeping an aircraft in the air requires a significant amount of energy. With the speeds we observed, 12 hours in the air is 11 hours longer than we'd expect," unquote. And this, tic-tac UFO was just going, oh, crazy, oopsie-daisies, and what a baby.
Hey, when you use technical terms like that.
I know, me too. No one hates it more than me. So, Rolling Stone published an article just a couple of days ago, and the title is "Yet Another Sign of the Apocalypse." Navy pilots reported UFO sightings on almost, quote, daily basis, unquote.
What?
Really?
So now more and more people, and in fact, people from the Department of Defense and I think the Navy are urged to report sightings now.
Oh, so they're not having them bury it like they used to.
On the other end of the spectrum now. It's like,
Yep.
Say something. See something, say something.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's going to get to that point where all of these stories are not going to be talked about anymore.
Right.
I can see that happening now.
Yeah, it's going to be like all saturated and no one's going to care anymore. And then,
There's always an underlying
smart.
plan.
Well done, government.
Now, no one knows, of course.
I see you.
Everything you
and
do.
we see everything, too.
Something of an anomaly in the UFO world is that UFOs aren't, or UAPs, again, unidentified flying object or an unidentified aerial phenomenon that's a UAP. Oftentimes, religion or spirituality is not brought up when we see some kind of sighting. Why do you think that is?
Well, science and religion don't make good bedfellows. One's not really a big fan of the other. So I guess, you want to leave it out of that. If you're talking about something with a UFO, you want to keep it scientific and not spiritual, because spiritual, you can't prove. Science, you hope to be able to prove.
You've heard of people who have reported seeing UFOs say, I had dread. I had a feeling of dread. It's usually like an evil feeling. Or sometimes I felt invited, or it was neutral. It was nothing. Of the ones who say, I was in fear of something. I don't know what. I wonder exactly what they might have been, sensing. So in a report that came out just a couple of years ago, Apparently, and of course, none of this can be fact checked, but this is on mysteriousuniverse.org. Did a famous UFO contactee secretly work for Uncle Sam? Is the name of the article. Thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, we know that the CIA's Robertson panel of 1953 was deeply concerned about the UFO phenomenon. Not because it believed that real aliens were visiting us, but because they, the panel members, were worried that the Russians might use the lore of the UFO to create fear, hysteria, and paranoia in the minds of Americans. Thank God they stopped that silly practice, right?
No, there's no fear at all now. It's just all but warm fuzzies.
Did the aliens hack into Facebook?
I don't know,
They
maybe.
did the voting, voter fraud.
Crazier things have happened. For instance, in Chicago, the Mothman is being goaded from its slumber
It's not good.
with cleverly placed posters all around a campus, an art institute. Saying,
What?
in this instance,
Yeah,
that
let me see that again.
Mothman loves ska.
Okay.
that is the creature from the Black Lagoon, I
All
believe.
right. He kind of wearing like a Charlie Brown sweater.
yeah. It's an adorable, beguiling sweater. And then at the bottom it says, reward is cool cowboy hat.
Now
So
I'm in.
this is purely intended for funsies, so I don't want anyone, blowing me up saying, oh, you got to be serious when you talk about who cares. This is blockclubchicago.org. Have you seen the Mothman? Posters urge Chicagoans to call in monster sightings, and her phone is blowing up. So they are, her name is Sophie Jones. She's a student at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. The Mothman, with heart saying seeking love.
Aww.
The Loch Ness monster right there, Nessie, and it says, sleek, rubbery, serpentine body, about 20 feet long. Last seen, 2018 Loch Ness. Reward, it says INFAMY. Oh, infamy. It was spaced out really
That's how
weird.
letters work. They make words.
These are all handwritten. Shut up.
They are.
These are
And like reward, it was like
Reward.
reward, but like the R and the D at the end were very small compared to the rest of
Yeah.
the word. It's a mess.
Also, have you seen this entity? And it's a photocop picture of two people holding up, I can only assume a 6-year-old or like a 30-year-old drunk man did, but known as the Flatwoods Monster, 10 feet tall, 4 feet wide, metallic body, glowing green-orange eyes. And it says, pretty hard to miss.
You'll know it when you see it.
You'll know it when you see it. So last but not least, I end with a coasttocoastam.com article, and it's a video. A worker at a hospital in England suspects that she may have captured some paranormal activity on film in the form of a door inexplicably opening and closing on its own. So she heard something. She went down to check it out. It was in the abandoned part of the hospital that once served as what, do you think?
The psych ward.
Yes.
It's always the psych ward.
It was
Always.
the psych ward. Her last name is Southern, so she was stunned when the doorway to the wing, as she was walking up the stairs, did one of these things
Did the old open closing.
right here. Can everyone see that?
Okay.
Kind of creaky door.
WD-40.
Okay,
It's
that's a little creepy.
It's an abandoned psych ward.
Coming back for more.
Oh my. Ugh.
So if you want to see this, go to realradio.fm.
Yeah, it's
How
creepy.
is she not just like either running away or running at it? Like, that's
That's weird.
yeah, that's true. That's true. What
She's
about
very
that?
brave.
This is 52
No,
seconds.
I like what he's saying right there. The fact that the camera is not moving at all puts it into that's not
Moving
doing itself.
a little bit.
That thing's not moving at all. You can look at the parallel line of the bottom screen.
Well, maybe she doesn't want to disrespect it by saying, yo, Miss Meth! Or just firing her handgun
Like
at
a
the
level?
door. Yeah.
Chloe all the way.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Angela?
Things like that just really freak me out.
I mean, that looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
I don't know.
Ghost!
It's being opened up, like pretty good amount each time.
Clacker.
And what does a spirit get out of this?
I don't know.
Just to be
come
heard.
back from the dead.
Just to be
Here you
heard.
go. Here you go.
You know, it's a psych ward. It could have just been someone with OCD, just
Yeah.
specifically just being like,
OCD
someone
ghost.
needs to WD-40 this door, and just keep opening and closing it to let people know that.
So that's at realradio.fm, and just click if it's not trending, if you're not listening to it right now on Friday night, then that's fine. Just click on shows and podcasts right there under Fort Fritz. So let's see, coming up, Man Daddy, you have a Netflix movie that
Yes.
you've recently seen. Kaz, you have a Richard Bachman potential movie update.
Correct.
And Angela has watched an HBO movie with every star.
Everybody is in it.
Everyone. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Something's happening, don't speak too soon. Don't the balls off me.
Welcome back. You're listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1. We're just talking about what we've been watching, what we're listening to, what we're putting into our eye holes. And, well, it seems that Angela watched something that just debuted on HBO recently. What did you see?
I watched Bad Times at the El Royale.
Been interested in this movie for a while.
Yeah. I actually had forgotten about it until it popped up on HBO. It came out in 2018.
And you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Angela was like, do you remember this when we watched this trailer? And I watched it. I just remember one specific part, and it was surprisingly really good. It is a drama/thriller, and it kind of has a pacing a little bit of like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
That's what I got that vibe big time.
I actually thought it was, and then I looked it up and realized I was completely wrong. It was actually by the writer-director Drew Goddard, who did Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, really? One of my favorites.
And
That was the unofficial theme from Cabin in the Woods
No,
by
it
Fritz.
was Rodney. No, not Rodney Carey. I forget the guy's name.
he also did The Martian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With Matt Damon?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, that's a
Matt
really
Damon.
popular one.
Right. And he also was a creator of Daredevil on Netflix,
Oh.
which is phenomenal. Really, really
the
good.
final season was great.
The movie has like 1,000 people in it. It has John Hamm.
Oh,
What
I know him.
isn't he in?
I know him.
I know.
He's in
great.
everything, and he's great in everything.
And the movie kind of is based in like the 1970s. So at first you're like, am I watching just like Don Draper and another version of himself?
Yeah, the parallel universe.
Like the
Spin-off.
Yeah, because the whole aesthetic of the whole thing kind of reminded me a little of Mad Men.
Is it like anachronistic though? Like, do they have like assault machine guns, or like, is it like, does it like pay homage to the future? Is it like just
No,
completely
like
70s?
it's like shotguns, handguns.
No lasers.
Nice.
No,
yeah,
no
that's what I was getting at.
lasers, no cell phones.
The guy did have a robot sidekick. Really weird, but it worked.
No time travel. I would say it has some weird trippy moments in it because all these weird twists and turns with it are really, it's just really disturbing and strange.
Okay.
You also have Chris Hemsworth in it.
Oh.
He's a babe.
Yeah, what a babe. Nick Offerman in it.
Oh.
I think I said Jeff Bridges.
He was a babe. Jeff Bridges.
Yes,
Babe.
babe. Still a babe, gotta say. Dakota Johnson.
Babe?
Babe.
Babe?
Total babe. Yeah. And so I'm assuming this hotel used to be this like big hotel that people used to go to all the time. And it is on the off season as well, but it is right smack on the border of Nevada and California.
Go to a garden party in Nevada.
Okay.
For a garden party in Nevada.
I actually was talking to someone from Nevada, and I said Nevada, trying to be respectful, and they were so offended. They're like, "It's Nevada," and I'm like, "Well, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jesus.
Don't you?
Don't you dare call it Nevada."
Nevada.
Sorry, Devin.
Like pecan. Pecan.
I think his name
Nevada.
was Will with one L. Which is
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, come
I
no.
know.
Will
He's just
Walker tried to pull
just
that
a
off for like a
difficult
month.
person. Just a difficult person.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We as a
that's-
people are not allowing you to
No,
do
no.
that.
Is his name Wilhelm? What's
No.
Then you're Vil at that point.
Ville.
Call
Yeah,
me
that's
Ville.
true.
Ville.
That's true. So it's on the border. So there's certain things you can do on one side and not the other. And there's nobody there. So when you first get there, it's literally the guy behind the desk, Jeff Bridges, John Hamm, and Cynthia Erivo. She plays this character, Darlene Sweet, who's a singer in like one of those like doo-wop bands.
Mhm,
And
okay.
I mean, I can tell you this part because it happens like right in the beginning. John Hamm comes in as like a salesman, but he's actually something else, and he starts to kind of investigate everything because I'm assuming there's probably some shady stuff that the CIA has caught on to about this place. And he totally finds this like back corridor.
And that's John Hamm.
John Hamm's character. And it just goes right in of being really disturbing and weird, and right away you realize there's something funky going on with this whole hotel.
Doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah, not really. And they do a lot of flashbacks with people, so it's like everybody has a specific reason that they're there, but you don't realize that when they all kind of get there. So
That's very Quentin.
Does sound very
right.
Tarantino.
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like everything about it. I just kept feeling like I was watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. But
Except
it
they didn't
wasn't.
say
It
the
is a
N-word every
movie,
5
it's not
minutes.
It's a movie. It's
Okay.
definitely a movie. And I guess it was released in Australia first, which is kind of funny.
What?
Yeah.
They're
That's
getting
odd.
ahead of us. Don't knock the Australians, man. Like
They're not like they're from Ocoee.
No, they're
they're
not.
like the
No.
Florida of the world, right? So they're
Yeah.
like,
In a way.
By the way, I was at this light on the way here. This is so random. There's this guy next to me just revving his car like super obnoxiously, and as he just like the light turns green, he just goes. Like it just came in my mouth. I was like, yeah, I got to get to a Popka real quick.
take that a Popka.
It's really obnoxious, but
There's stuff going
there's
on.
stuff going on in a Popka.
I need to be there
Obviously,
right now.
much better than a Coe.
Propriety
Yes.
Be damned.
I thought it was really, really well done, and I actually really do like when you're watching a movie and they give you this little sprinkling of information, and then they do a random backstory on something,
Yes.
and then they give you a little sprinkling of information, and then they do a backstory on something.
Like you're putting
And-
together a puzzle.
Right, and then you
Yeah.
watch a scene, and then you watch it from the other character's angle
Oh, yeah.
later. I love all of that. So you start to piece things together. I find that really interesting to watch. I think that drives some people nuts. They like to watch things very linearly, and
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, no, I love.
You would love Dark Souls.
That's another great Tarantino aspect
Yes.
about
Very
how
much.
he tells stories
Yes.
too.
I know.
So would this be a film noir, but not really because it's not black and white? Not hey, sir, you
Takes place
mid-Atlantic
in the
accent.
70s.
But it,
got John
but it
Hamm.
kind of has that pacing of a film noir a little
Noir-y?
bit. No, it's a little noir-y.
Nori.
It's a little
Nor-esque.
what would you say, like gamble noir? I don't know, because it has the whole Nevada thing, and they
Desert noir.
desert noir.
Noir.
That's got to be right.
Yeah.
I
There you
think
go.
I think
Pretty
Kaz
good.
mentioned that.
Yes. And it's just weird how you're finding out random bits of information. Like they lost their gambling license a little bit ago, and things
Uh-huh.
like. So you're just getting
Okay.
all this like random, weird, strange stuff. And the guy at the front desk is like super shaky and shady and looks totally uncomfortable being there. And so it's like he knows something really weird happens here, and it was great. I loved it.
Okay.
How many Angela? How many
Beer pulls.
Angelas? Angela beer pulls?
Yeah.
No, it was Angela. It was
Angela replicants.
Yeah, how
right?
many
yeah.
Angela replicants, including chopping in half if need be?
Ooh, I would give this. I feel like I gave this last thing 6.5. I liked it.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. I
Wait,
liked
hold on.
it.
The last thing you watched was Don't Tell Me.
I know.
Last watch.
Boom.
Yeah, last watch, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
And
The
you
last
watched
thing you watched
Us.
was
You watched Us,
Yep.
and you reviewed Great Rune.
Yes.
yes,
The runes.
yes.
Runes.
Runes.
Here the runes, boy.
So
Get
out
on
of,
the runes.
out of 7 Angelas,
6.5.
6.5.
man,
I like
2 in a
it.
row.
Yeah,
That's
that was
a
good.
damn near classic right
Bad
there.
times at
Bad Times at El Royale.
At
And the
El
cinematography
Royale.
is beautiful in it too, and all the colors and costuming.
That's
and
something that looked like it was
yes.
really shot well.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Okay.
That's why I thought they were lasers.
Lots of lasers.
Look at that movie. It's
Just a
got
lot of-
lasers and dream sequences.
Just a lot of fun neon lights and retro signs, like see you real soon, and that whole like retro look of spacey and everything, and that
Kevin Spacey?
Kevin
No,
Spacey.
no,
too soon.
No one puts him in movies anymore.
Not anymore.
Nobody.
He's done.
They
He's just
just
gone.
They
He's
Not
done.
kill him out of
anymore.
things. Like, did you watch the last season of House of Cards?
I started watching. I never finished
They
it.
basically were just like that first episode when they just had Robin Wright's character as the main character. They
Yeah.
were just kind of like, he died.
Yeah,
And they just
they
kind
really
of
did.
moved
It was
on.
like, he did. Let's go. Moving on.
The whole show was about
he
his
did.
character. But let's be honest, House of Cards really should have ended after season 2, and that should have just been that.
Yeah. I guess
It lost
yeah.
its thing.
It-
It lost
yeah,
whatever it was
It didn't.
after that.
It didn't have that woo factor.
It
as
didn't.
Jim Phillips,
A little,
Yeah.
little less
Yeah.
woo. A
Yeah.
little less
Is that
woo.
you
Little
or
less woo.
2 O's?
It's like
Umlaut.
Woo! It's a Ric
2
Flair.
O's.
woo.
2
Yeah.
O's. Okay.
Two O's. Okay. Kaz is furiously taking
No,
notes.
I got it. Yeah.
All right.
Also check out Handmaid's Tale. It just started this week. So Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, original.
If you're ready
Show.
for some wacky comedy, if you're ready for
Oh.
just
Why do you keep
silly,
doing that?
silly, funny
You
show,
did that the first
it's just
time, and
hilarious.
it threw me off. Stop doing that.
I cannot wait to see what
And
it
get ready to
covers.
look at Elizabeth Moss's face
Her
up
beaut-
close
her-
as
She's
possible.
gorgeous.
Her beautiful, beautiful blue eyes.
Just right there.
I mean, the colors and the costuming on that show is incredible.
oh, it's
Again,
amazing.
the cinematography is gorgeous.
Yeah, it brings you in.
Yeah, so
And slaps you around a little bit.
a lot
A lot.
of it.
A lot of
bit.
slapping.
You
Yeah.
guys.
So that's Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yeah.
And that's on HBO. That's where you saw it.
That's where I saw it.
That's a 6.5 out of 7. That's a woo! Woo! So coming up, me and Daddy is going to talk about Rim of the World, a Netflix movie that he watched, and Kaz has a Richard Bachman / Stephen King confirmed news. Is it confirmed news?
Yes.
Ooh, there you go. Richard Bachman novel or novella will be greenlit, I guess. Is that what's...
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Falling down mountain.
Is
Yeah.
it a rumor or is it happening?
It's happening.
So it's
So
been
they have a
greenlit.
director. It's greenlit. Yes. It's
Okay.
happening. It's happening.
And Kaz has a Richard Bachman novel that is being greenlit.
Yes.
All of that and more coming up. You're listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Drink at the bar, nothing more, anything but the bottom step of the ladder. It keeps getting
Welcome back to Fort Fritz. I am your host, Fritz, joined as always by co-host Man Daddy,
Hi.
Kaz,
Hello.
and Angela.
Oh, hi.
If you would ever like to go back and engage in the pratfalls and the hijinks and whatnot of past episodes, we encourage you to do that. We are an iHeart radio station. It makes sense for us on so many levels to say just download the app if you haven't already. If you already have it, just search Fort Fritz, FORTFRITZ, and right there we have hundreds of hours of entertainment at this point. Man Daddy,
Yes.
so you have watched the Netflix movie Rim of the World.
Yes, I did.
What is it about?
It is a movie by Mick G. He's the guy that did the two Charlie's Angels movies.
Is that GEE or just
It's
G
M,
dot?
It's just big M, small C, G. McG.
McG.
Yeah, one thing. McG.
I like it.
Oh.
And
Oh.
and so
I like a McDonald's meal.
Like,
kinda,
yes.
Okay.
yeah.
Like
Or,
gangster.
I'm the McG. You know,
Like
something
gangster.
like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
A
Like
Scottish G.
Scottish G dog.
Okay.
And it's basically trying to harken back to the 80s movies, like, say, your Goonies or something like that, where it's kids saving the world. You know, monsters show up, some bad thing happens, and the only ones can save us are the kids. And it is a perfect summer movie. It is just a fun little romp. Basically, you got kids going to a camp, and while at the camp, huge alien invasion happens. EMP takes out all communications.
What is that?
Electromagnetic pulse. That's when a nuclear bomb happens. It sends out a wave of electromagnetic energy, and it basically knocks out all electronic equipment in the radius. So if a bomb goes off, everything in the area before even the shockwave hits is just dead electronically.
Even cars?
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, especially with how cars now are all nothing but computer chips and wheels.
But
It's
skateboards and shopping carts, that's fine.
No, they're fine. They're
You
fine.
good to go?
Bicycles.
Bicycles are great.
Jackass will continue ad infinitum.
This is true.
Yeah, that's-
This is true.
They'll always be able to hurt
The
themselves.
height of civilization.
But it
Me
is
on my
just-
penny farthing.
I could totally see you on a penny farthing.
8 feet
All
in the air.
day long, I could see you on one
Yeah.
of those.
Tiny wheel in the back.
Wouldn't even be shocked. It'd be like, oh yeah, of course you have one.
Hello, man, daddy. I fall off. Die immediately. First casualty of the radioactive fallout.
But it's a perfect summer movie. It's a lot of willing suspension of disbelief. You're put your mind to the side. Don't sit there and look, because it has a lot of stylistic things where it's like, oh really? They're just gonna have a fun little dance sequence in the middle of the apocalypse?
This
Sure,
is
that would happen.
Rim of the world.
Yeah,
needs to
rim of the
happen.
world.
What? Yeah, come on. I mean, Angela's a dancer. Why not?
Well, they aren't dancers.
Oh,
So the whole world dances.
should
All
dance.
cultures have
you should,
dance.
You should dance. If it's the end of the world, I'm
We
dancing.
can all
Yeah.
admit certain people should not dance.
This is true.
This is true. There are
I
just
feel bad
people
saying
out there.
that.
We've all met them, and we want you to experience joy, but do it where other people can't see you.
Take a class.
Something. Listen to the right music. But and there's a bit of a heavy-handed racial stereotype throughout the whole thing.
oh, that's always fun.
Where there's one camp counselor that's basically they're like, hey, could you just be Chris Tucker? You know how Chris Tucker was in every movie?
Oh,
Could you just be
God.
that? Hey, how you doing? I'm the black guy. And hey, come here. I'm going to show you how to do the black man handshake. He does the black man
Yikes.
handshake. He goes, you can't do that. That's just for the black man. And everything is just like that. And it's just a little bit like, a little heavy-handed on that. But he's out of the movie pretty quick. Don't worry about that.
Oh, good.
But then they also have
So the
young
minority
kid.
dies first.
Oh no,
okay.
there's two minority children
Oh,
that are in the
good.
main.
Angela almost did a spit
I almost
take.
got a spit take out of Angela.
That would have been awesome.
Right on your laptop.
That's- iHeart paid for it.
And there are some, the racial stereotypes are there a little bit too with there's a rich black kid who just, everything is all about money and women with him. But then he shows his vulnerability. It does all the tropes. You have the bully kid, but then you find out why he was a bully, and you got the kid who's an introvert, and you find out why they're an introvert. It just goes through all those tropes, but just in a fun, stupid way. The special effects aren't the worst. They're getting a little cheesy, but the creature design is cool.
Oh,
The
okay,
main
good.
evil creature, I really dig the creature design on that, and the CGI was decent on that. And it's just a fun romp. If you're looking for a summer movie, it's pretty kid friendly since it's all with 12 and 13-year-old kids. It was just a fun romp. I would definitely give it, I'd say like a 5
Out of 7?
Out of 7, I'd give it like let me take it back. 4.5. 4.5.
Okay,
Like I
4.5.
said, there are a lot of gigantic plot holes and everything, and it's just a romp. It's not something you're supposed to be, looking into seriously. It's just a perfect summer movie if you want to put on Netflix, because that's what Netflix is there. You just put it on, sit there, and just let it take over your life.
So you would say this like some B movie.
Yeah, it has a B movie quality to it, and almost on purpose,
Right.
because it's harkening back to that. Like Steven Spielberg did it about 10 years ago with a movie called 8mm.
Yeah.
That kind of went under the radar, which was actually a really good movie.
He
I
just
still have
produced
yet
it,
to see
didn't he?
that. Yeah.
I think did
Wait,
he,
no.
just produce or direct it too?
Wasn't 8mm that Nicolas Cage snuff movie?
That was a
Horror?
different one. I think there's two of them. Was it
Okay.
called 8mm?
This is called Super 8, I thought.
Super 8.
That's
He's
it,
right.
Super 8.
Super 8.
Jesus.
Big difference.
Wrong movie.
Big difference.
But it's-
Super 8.
It's still camp, though.
Yeah, it's
like
very-
Super
yeah.
8 and
Both campy.
Rim of the World, it's still that B movie kind of.
Yeah, and it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be, as I said, a romp.
And you're giving this thing a 4.5, so you're still 4 is average. You're still like above average with
Yeah,
your movies.
because it's a
Oh
romp.
no,
It's just
sorry.
yeah.
The silence. You hated the silence.
Yeah, the
Silence got
the
0.
silence got
Silence
zero.
got
zero.
shave your beard
Yeah,
off.
I said shave it off. For the
That's
silence,
less
shave it
than
off.
zero.
Just
It's
shave it
amazing.
off and change your lifestyle.
Out of 7 beard pulls, this is 4.5.
Yeah, this is 4.5. This is just this is above average. It's not some
See,
horrible movie.
Attack
yeah.
on the Block. Attack
Attack
the Block.
Uh-uh.
Oh yeah, like
Similar
that
to
would be.
that?
You know what this is,
That's
Angela?
let's say that's an urban version. That's inside.
Okay.
That's a city version of this. This is them in a countryside
Okay.
setting. So yeah, that's a good comparison. I would really put that close. That one's much more edgy. Attack the Block is a lot more edgy.
So less edgy. Okay.
Yeah, that was, I think, rated R. This is definitely PG-13.
Okay.
Well, check out the trailer for Attack the Block and Rim of the World at realradio.fm and click shows and podcasts. You will see Fort Fritz right there. That's our blog. And have fun with all of the other past postings, too, like the Crazy Ghost, the
Guy coming out the sky.
times at
Sky
the
Guy?
El Royale. Sky Guy.
Sky Guy is creepy.
That guy was nuts.
Yeah, that's the creepiest one.
Coming up, we have Kaz, with his long-awaited Stephen King / Richard Bachman news. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Bobby got leukemia, 14 years old, he lived at 55 when he died. He was a friend of mine. Those people who died. Those people who died. Those people who died. They were all my friends that just died.
101. Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Welcome back to Fort Fritz. We are hanging out here talking. We got, of course, our host over there. That's Fritz.
Hello, I'm Fritz.
That's Angela over there.
Yo.
And this is Kaz.
Hello, I'm Kaz.
And Kaz is now going to tell us about something that he's been waiting for, he's been anxious about. He is just chewing at the bit to tell you about it. What do you have to explain to the
I
people?
chomp at the bit. I don't just chew.
You
all right?
chomp
You
at the
know
bit?
when
I
I'm
chew
down
at
at the bit.
So now
Chomp.
continue to chomp and chomp away.
I will chomp. One of my favorite Stephen King stories was The Long Walk, and I wouldn't classify it as a short story. Novella seems the best fit, I feel.
Wait, you said Stephen King?
Stephen King. Well, so at the time, it was released under Richard Bachman, which is his nom de plume.
Nom de
or-
plume. That's his AKA.
Yeah.
Is it nom de plume? It's nom de plume.
Nom de
right?
plume.
No, nom de plume, yeah.
Yeah,
This is
nom de
nom de
plume
plume.
is pseudonym. His
Biggest
writer name
plume,
is
that's a chicken.
Pen name.
pen name.
I always wondered what the deal was with that, and I read that
Dick
it was
Bachman.
because he, like many people, are, slightly uncomfortable with the thought of their loved ones and close ones reading these like very personal, close thoughts that they have that are kind of weird and like messed up, and they don't want them to see that part of them, so they release under a different name until it's like, hey, look, I'm making millions of dollars for being a weirdo, so then
Yeah.
I
I
can
agree with
just
that.
do it now.
Yeah, stay in
It
your
also
lane.
gives you a freedom with critics.
Yeah.
So no one's
You
going
could- right,
you're
exactly.
going to read it as just an author, not just as a Stephen King book.
Right.
Also, a lot of women do that because they just don't like to be known as being a woman.
Yes.
Because a lot
Mhm.
of people judge them immediately when they see a woman's name written on
So
something.
a
Yeah, exactly.
story tradition of the nom de plume.
Thank
so
you for saying that, Angela.
thank you. Richard Bachman is the nom de plume of Stephen King. 1979 is when this book came out, and it is one of my favorites. I read it on an airplane ride. It was a couple hours. Knocked it out, and then on the way back, knocked it out again. So it's a weekend
Damn.
read, I
So
would
it's a
say.
novella? Is it like 200
I would say
pages?
novella. Novella sounds right. It's definitely not a short story, but it's got, it's like,
Like 200, would you say? I don't know. He's holding up like an imaginary bagel half.
yes.
Yeah.
It's like a half bagel.
Half a
Half a bagel.
Not a full bagel, half a bagel. No
Half a
schmear.
bagel with a little bit of cream cheese on it.
Yeah. It's not dragged
Thank
through the
you.
garden like a hot dog. It
Yeah.
doesn't have
No.
pickle on there.
Little schmear.
Got some schmear on it.
Drag through the garden. You dragging your hot dog through the garden sounds
got
like
some
something completely different to me.
Drag the old hot dog through the garden. All right.
Oh my
Anyway.
God.
It makes sense.
It does.
It makes sense.
So The Long Walk is about a similar to Running Man, kind of a dystopian future competition in which 100 teenaged boys participate voluntarily in this, essentially what is a death march from Maine to Florida. That's Maine is one of Stephen King's favorite locales for his stories.
Settings.
So they march from Maine to Florida, and they have to maintain a certain miles per hour. They're all wearing pedometers, essentially.
And these are kids?
Correct. Well, yeah, teenagers. So they're all like getting out of school, and they're cool guys or whatever. So you get the perspective of this one person, and he joins the game and goes through the initial process. And what the thing that struck me most about the story was that it's a glimpse. It's a very like personal glimpse into a descent into madness. It's this person who is. They don't get to stop. There's no breaks. There you You pee your pants. You
Oh,
keep
my God,
walking.
really?
They throw you food and water. There's no stop. There's no sleeping. Nothing. You walk from Maine to Florida, and if you slow down, you get a warning. If you get 3 warnings, you get shot. And that's the way they whittle down the contestants for this game.
I don't know if it's physically possible for someone to actually win this game. I don't know if you can
Correct.
do this.
So
well, if there's the Appalachian Trail.
There
But
becomes
you take breaks and you sleep.
You camp.
Yeah, you don't
There
just
is-
Be
keep
human.
going.
You sleep, you eat.
this is the people they walk the soles of their shoes bare. They walk their minds insane. It's
Man, Dennis just looked through red
down,
eyes and just shook
down
his
to the
head no.
ankles at one point.
it's,
You know,
it's a very cool. And so the cool thing about it was it's also very stylized in that the community is into it. Like they're flanked as they're walking by like cheering sports fans. They're like, oh, they pick their winner, the people they think are going to win, and
It's
these
kind of like
guys-
Hunger
die.
Games too, though.
yeah,
It's like,
Hunger
it's like
Games.
Hunger Games meets like Forrest Gump when he goes
Yeah.
running.
yes.
I would love to see a review of a movie that just says that. It's like the Hunger Games meets Forrest Gump.
A teenager walks by with like soiled pants, and one guy just goes, "S happens," and Forrest Gump right next to him.
I'm
Like,
tired. I'm gonna go home now.
I'm gonna go home. You can't. They're gonna shoot you, Forrest.
he just
I'm sorry.
leaves, and they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
they
you
didn't
know
shoot
what?
him."
He
I guess that's-
maintained the pedometer.
I
He just
was
ran away very fast.
Running.
So anyway, yeah, it's from one kid's perspective as he meets and befriends others and realizes others are his rivals, and as they're walking, how everyone's kind of mental state starts to degrade. And very cool, very interesting story. I liked it a lot, and it's going to be made into a movie directed by
And that's The Long Walk.
The Long Walk, correct? Richard Bachman,
Richard Bachman.
Stephen King.
Uh-huh.
Kind of really underselling it when it comes to the title. It's not just I've been on a long walk. It's a bit
That's
more
the
of
best
a
part.
long walk.
That's the best part. When someone told me about it, you got to read The Long Walk. I'm like, yeah, well, that
Yeah,
sounds like kind
well.
of man. And I'm like, oh my
It sounds like more
god,
like a Nicholas Sparks
Oh,
movie,
I
or
was just about to
book,
say,
like
yeah.
like some kind of like romantic, like
Uh-huh.
on the beach.
The Long Walk.
Yep.
We'll
Nice-
take the Long
nights in
Walk,
Rhodesia.
madam.
Yeah, and knowing Nicholas Sparks, it's like somebody who like couldn't walk, and they spent
Right.
the entire book learning to feel pain again.
Something like that, yeah.
To quote from The Simpsons.
So, interestingly enough, this is going to be directed by the same man who is directing the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series that we talked about.
Guillermo del Toro.
So Guillermo del Toro is executive producer.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Type of realm. This guy is director Andre, and then it's the O with the slash, which is what? Ooh?
Ooh.
O slash through.
Is that like some kind of Norwegian,
Something, it looks
Norwegian or
It looks
Swedish
very
or
Norwegian.
Danish, Norwegian?
Andre
something.
Uverdal.
Ugin
Would that be like a
Or
Heldi?
Icelandic.
Is
It's-
it Hel-
It's
Heldi?
slash
Heldi?
O Vredal. Uverdal.
Okay.
Get an American name.
So Andre
Wow.
Uverdal, directing the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, is also apparently going to head up the Long Walk adaptation.
Uverdal would be like Cloverdale, right? can we agree on that?
Sure.
Sure,
Yeah, man. Why not?
So he had previously directed The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I never saw.
That was good.
Okay.
That was good.
People said it was good.
He's Norwegian. I looked it up.
Nice.
Boom.
So
Called
what's
it
the
O
language,
slash
do you know?
Uverdal.
Do you know what that language would be?
Scandinavian.
Scandinavian? Is that a language?
In Norway, they speak Norwegian. That's a separate language.
That makes
than
sense.
they,
Yeah, that
they
makes
speak
sense.
in Sweden, correct? And
No, they're all the same.
in Denmark, they're Danish.
Or
Right?
if they speak
Or-
socialism.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Did you know that
appropriate
Sweden?
worldview.
They burn trash for fuel.
Yep.
And they ran out of trash.
Yeah, they
and
have to
had
import
They
trash.
They
import
have
trash.
to import trash.
That's amazing.
Heard of that?
Because they also repair everything, and you get tax incentives if you repair things. Anyway, Sweden's great.
Yeah, that is cool.
And living there, when you live there, the flag's a big plus.
Yeah.
Ah,
Got him.
damn, that's good.
So, any
Son
news
of
on when it's going to be coming out?
Not yet. No release date. Just director set. No cast information. So it'll be. I'll stay on top of that. I'll let you know. But I'm excited. We'll see how they end up wrapping it up. Fun tidbit.
Ooh.
I did write 3 pages. I was so enamored with the story. I wrote 3 pages of and kind of a screenplay for a movie adaptation of The Long Walk before. Like this was 6 years ago, 7
Mhm.
years ago. and sent it to Stephen King's agent, and I got a reply back that was like, "Hey,
Stop sending us stuff.
yeah." He was like, "Hey,
Who
hey,
gave you
thanks.
his address?
This is nice, but I'm not allowed to read this, so I didn't, and I appreciate it, but no, we already sold the rights to Frank Darabont, who is the guy who does Walking Dead, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's into walking,
That's
evidently, this
amazing.
guy.
Yeah.
This guy loves
Walking
some
Dead,
walking.
The Long Walk.
He works with Christopher Walken a lot.
He's really into cardio.
Oh. Well, now it is time for us to check out and tell you things that we need you to check out. Angela, what would you like us to check out?
I am seeing Florence and the Machine tomorrow.
What? Ooh, nice.
Yes.
Where are they?
On the Mo?
At the Amway.
Yes.
I'm super jazzed. This will be the third time I've seen them. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I'm extremely excited. She's amazing.
So is it the
Florence
same
Welch is
players for
amazing.
Rage Against the Machine?
Yeah,
Yes.
same. She does all the same
Wouldn't
stuff.
that be so
just with
badass?
this gorgeous voice that she has. It's just she's like this fairy that runs across the stage just barefoot with her beautiful red hair just flowing behind her. She's wonderful, and her voice is just incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Man, Daddy, what would you like people to check out?
Well, as always, I would love to see some people at my trivia nights. I do trivia all over the town. I would love to see some people out.
Yes, sir.
On Thursdays, I'm at Cheers Altamont at 7 o'clock. We got great drink specials. It's a lot of fun, and there's a $30 gift certificate to be won right there. The first and third Mondays, I'm at Orlando Brewing at 7 o'clock. There's a $25 bar tab to be won there. And I'm also at Lucky's Market on Tuesdays from 5 to 7, and they got a lot of different food prices and a lot of cool things going on there. So I'm always doing trivia out around. Check out my band Gargamel. You can go and check us out on Facebook, Gargamel Orlando. Look us up. We're always playing somewhere. We're playing June 29th at the Iron Cow. What would you like us to check out there, Kaz?
I actually stumbled across an album called The Beautiful Freak by a band. I guess it's one dude, but it's a band called Eels.
Oh,
the
Eels.
Eels.
Yeah.
Oh,
love
Eels.
Eels.
Oh,
Eels
Eels.
are
Yes.
amazing.
Life
I
is
had-
hard.
I had
So
no idea
am
this was
I.
a thing. It was so good. I thought it was Beck.
They-
The first time I heard it,
they
I
have
was
a
like,
great
"Oh, this is
sound.
like
Yep.
really good
Yeah.
Beck stuff." And
Saw
then,
him open up for E. He just goes by E, I think. Saw him open up for Fiona Apple in '97.
Yeah, very 90s-y kind of
You
vibe.
saw Fiona Apple in '97. Ooh, nice.
It was either '97
Nice.
or '98.
Yeah.
But it was close around there.
Fantastic.
So, singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist
Thank you.
Mark Oliver Everett.
Just dance along to it at home.
Bob your head.
But only if you can dance.
Yeah, only if you
Otherwise,
can
keep your ass
Now
at
you're on
home.
my side. Now you're on my side. You understand?
Take a class.
Fritz, what would you like the people to check out?
So on the HBO Go app, you should check out The Inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley.
I
about
watched
chick's
that.
voice.
Oh my god, it's
Hi,
so.
I am a woman.
I listened to a whole podcast about her. She's nuts.
Oh, she's out of her mind.
that was
Yeah.
probably The Dropout, right?
Yes,
that
the
I think
Dropout.
CNN did.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is The Inventor that HBO put out. It's about Elizabeth Holmes and the Theranos, one
Yes.
pinprick of blood and I'll cure your cancer and other just fraudulent claims. It's like, it's over 2 hours long, or it's an hour and 59 minutes. But I like it so far. It's like Metacritic 66%, but 87% of the people who saw it liked it. So there you go, critics and people who watch stuff.
Yeah, it's really good.
And that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very, very much for listening to us. We are Fort Fritz. Remember to download the iHeart app and listen to us there, or you can check us out on Facebook, or you can check us out on Twitter. We're all over the place. We are Fort Fritz. We're here for you, and we're here to entertain you. But, I'm a little tired right now. I don't feel like I got it in me. Kaz, could you just kick these people out of the fort for me?
There's like 3 people here.
Well, but you got to kick them out individually.
Okay. You, come here. Hey. You. And
Being very gentle
you.
about this.
Well, they're sleeping.
He's really nice.
It's been a pretty, it's been a long
They're
episode.
sleeping.
They did drink a lot of whiskey.
They did. A lot of
It's
great
been
water.
a tough day. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Friday. We're at the end of the week.
Here we are.
So, you 3 guys, go on and get out of here. I'm not
They
gonna.
nicely got up. Look at that.
That was
Look at
really
that.
nice of you.
Didn't
Thank you
have to
very much.
scream at him.
Nicely.
Didn't have to get extremely irate or obnoxious.
But that's a lot of fun. I'm sorry. It's
It
a lot
was
of fun. You
amazing.
should
That
try
Yeah.
it.
one vomited in the corner.
Ah, there it is.
I'll
There's
clean
always
it up.
one.
I'm not even.
Yeah, you will.
know what I
Thank you,
mean?
Kaz. I appreciate
Take
that.
it easy, gentlemen. Have a good night. Get home safe. You're listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Until next time, pleasant dreams.